Yeah.
Thank you for it.
Did you arrange this? Did you arrange this?
No, I think he had it. Okay. Hey, Nikki, thanks for coming.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, I know we shouldn't be back at all. Hi. It just we saw a side of, Israeli occupation that
Right.
Can you put that one?
Right. That's it.
In a way, I wish you were still there. Where are you going to be?
This is an example of how we treat Palestinians, but even if they are American citizens, we treat us even worse than.
Sorry.
Everybody else here.
Not everybody else got a fine, energetic, that's over here.
Yeah, our first great taco.
Well, there's a lot of people with signs. I just saw a guy from Boston sign. Well, sir. So you don't want to give me your name and number?
The sooner they move it, get the bags moving, the sooner we'll be on your way. She went back that night, so yeah, she should hide.
when they were coming so they could finish the work really good.
Yeah, I just think that they should
And I did not intend to be here today, but it is incredible to see all these people, and the Palestinians are going to know about this outpouring of people here and in Chicago and other places, and know that there's great support for them in this country. And I guess I'm thankful for that opportunity. What we got to experience was the tight grip of the Israeli occupation of Palestine, and their mostly, but lessening success in keeping the word of what's going on in that country out of the media. Busted before we ever got there. And we went through a whole thing of being searched and having our luggage searched, and they extended this for 3 or 4 hours up until the time that the plane was leaving, so that we would be on that plane, which we were not. They called us, how did he say it? Or she said it? The main security guy was, well, the other reason that it took so long is by the time they told us that they were they regretted to inform us that we weren't going to be allowed into Israel because we were security threats.
So wonderful to have the support of all these people. I was not expecting this when I got off the plane, but it makes me very happy to see all the support that we have. But it's a very mixed emotion because I'm also I'm very disappointed that we were refused entry to Israel, and I'm very outraged that happened, and by the way that we were treated at the airport and then in the jail, and the way that we were denied information about the support that we had back at home. And like it's been mentioned, we were there as guests of Palestinians in the West Bank. This was an organized delegation where we were going to be meeting with people in order to hear about their lives and their struggles, so that we could bring their stories back to the United States, so that we could tell people about what the reality is about the Israeli occupation and what the U.S. role is in funding the aggression. The man who had questioned me called me back in, and he showed me on his computer screen the Anti-War Committee website where it describes the delegation. And he was yelling at me about that, and he took a book that I had when I went in there. It was a travel to Israel book. He took it away and he was pounding it on his counter, and he threw it on the floor, and he was yelling about, "Don't lie to me about what you're doing here." And I said, I'm not lying to you. We're here to visit all those places that I mentioned. At the jail, they put us in separate rooms, and they wouldn't let us have anything in there. I asked if I could have a notebook and a pen, and they said no, they wouldn't let me have a book or a pen or paper or anything like that. We were there in the cell until the next morning, and they would only open the door to drop off some food, but they wouldn't. I kept asking if I could talk to Sarah. They wouldn't let me talk to her. I kept asking if I could make a phone call, and they said, "Who do you want to call?" And I said, "I want to call a friend back home, and I want to call my husband." And they said no, and they said, but I had a pop top that I found in the room, and I started writing on the walls in there. I wrote "Free Palestine," and I wrote "Israel out of Palestine," and I wrote "Justice for Gaza," and I wrote "Right of Return," and it's all over the room, and it took them a long time to figure out that I was doing this. They came and got us, and they put us in separate cars so that we couldn't even talk to each other. They led Sarah to the plane and had her on the plane for like 5 minutes before they would even let me get out of the car. They wouldn't give me my passport back until the plane had already taken off, because they were like so afraid of, I don't know, they're afraid. They're afraid of people knowing the truth.
I think they were tipped off about us. Our names were out there. We've done a lot of fundraising. In fact, we raised a lot of money for Palestinian women's groups over there, and it was no secret we were going. So there was access on the internet, but before he even did that, they seemed to know that we were coming. So who knows how that happened.
To us in Israel, and are we okay? And did we get hurt? And did anything get stolen from us? And do we want to file a complaint? And so it seemed like all of that was sort of like they care about us and they're looking out for us. But then there was a long line of questioning that was about, so what were you really doing there? And who organized the trip? And who are you going to visit? And what are your intentions there? And we could tell they're trying to get information about the groups that we organized with here and the groups in Palestine that we were going to meet with. I had a notebook in there where I had done like a little bit of writing on the plane on the way down, and I was careful. There was nothing in there about any of the groups, so I'm glad that there wasn't any like so-called incriminating information. But it still felt very like an invasion of privacy, and I got mad. I told the guy that I said, "Why are you reading that? You don't need to read that. Put that away, please." And he's like, "I'm not reading. I'm just glancing." And
you know, most of the stuff is out there anyway. Anti-war committee, the Palestinian women's committees, the